Well, the presiding judge over the Texas Court of Appeals is under intense fire for denying the appeal of a death row inmate. Judge Sharon Keller denied the appeal of convicted murderer Michael Richard when his attorneys failed to turn in the proper paperwork by the close of business just hours before he was scheduled to die. Keller said she didn't know defense attorneys were having computer problems they claim made the documents late. Richard was subsequently executed. Now, defense attorneys nationwide are calling for action against Keller. We turn to attorneys Tom Simeone and Michael Isasaka for more. Gentlemen, thanks for being here. Michael, let's start with you. It seems like this judge, just reading this case, made a determination, hey, you had until 5 p.m., this is it, you don't have the paperwork. You know, it's kind of like a teacher saying it's over, but you're dealing with somebody's life here. Is that what's why the outrage across the country?
Yeah, it's even more than that. It's more fundamental than that. I mean, one of the problems here that you've got, and I think this speaks to the very heart of it. I mean, you've got this case now suddenly about Michael Richard. I mean, why is this case about Michael Richard? I mean, suddenly he went from being a rapist murderer to being the beacon to the appropriate administration of justice. That doesn't make any sense. This judge should have followed what's required for her job, which is to allow due process to work its way before executing somebody. And now suddenly, all of a sudden, Michael Richard, this case is all about Michael Richard. Just drives me insane.
Well, Tom, let's talk about this. I mean, what about the process here, filing this paperwork? Did this judge go over the line by saying, hey, it's got to be in by this time?
Brett, this judge did not go over the line. This judge took an action that you might not take, I might not take. It may be viewed as a harsh action. She applied the rules of the court as they're written. And to put this in perspective, a lot of this story has snowballed. This was a very unpopular judge in Texas going into this. All you have to do is Google her name and you'll see blogs. People did not like her. They don't like her decision. She's very hard line. This has become a rallying cry against her. And to put this in perspective, as my colleague has pointed out, the Supreme Court case that was agreed to be heard just was going to determine whether lethal injection was cruel and unusual or not. It had nothing to do with Mr. Richard's case. He was convicted of murder of 86, had 20 years of due process, and he would have remained on death row and would have been executed one way or another. The issue that went before the Supreme Court is whether lethal injection was the proper way to do it or not. So to put it in perspective, this judge did not deny anybody their day in court or an opportunity for justice.
But, Michael, there are a number of attorneys' groups that are now filing these complaints against Judge Keller. I mean, it has created quite the uproar.
Yeah, that's right. In fact, there are 300 lawyers calling for disciplinary action against Judge Keller. I mean, this is a group of judges and lawyers, people on both sides of the docket, that if you put them all together, they'd be the single best law firm ever assembled in the entire history of the nation. The reason is because she has usurped due process. Justice doesn't stop at 5 p.m., and I understand that a lot of folks are saying, well, you know, she should have gotten it on file, and you know that Michael Keller's attorney should have gotten it on file by 5. No, it doesn't work that way. Justice is a 24-hour-a-day process. This judge knows that. Anybody who's not interested in the administration of justice 24 hours a day really needs to consider a different line of employment.
And we should point out that the judge has not commented on this. She's issued no comment, but she did tell a paper back on October 3rd. I just said we close at 5. I didn't really think of it as a decision as much as much as a statement. We close at 5. Now, Tom, real quickly, 2 days later after this decision, that the whole uproar, justice has blocked another lethal injection in Texas. There's been no executions there since. Obviously, this issue is not going away.
No, the issue is not going to go away. And I think that because it deals with Texas, it deals with an unpopular judge and someone's life, that it's not going to go away. It's going to cause a debate and a discussion and so forth. The important thing to keep in mind is this. The court rule says 5 o'clock is the time. She had no notice that these people had a problem. Yeah. In this case, we may want her to extend more time. That's very dangerous. Start giving judges a chance to evaluate each case and decide when the deadline should be. She applied the rules, and there's a line of thought out there that says that's what judges do.
Tom, Michael, thanks for being here.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us on, Brett.